Hello, this is Michael Bowman from Centera, and in this video we will introduce the flight software for the PHX, which is called Fly PHX. There are too many features to cover in just one video, but we'll start with flight planning, importing field boundaries from your field agent account, downloading offline maps for use when you're away from an internet connection, and lastly, how to save a flight plan. You may find it helpful to download Fly PHX to your own device and follow along with this video. Fly PHX can be downloaded for either a laptop running Windows or an iPad running iOS. You can find the download link in the description of this video. Fly PHX contains a built-in flight planning tool that will walk you through the basic steps of planning a flight. Note that each flight area is unique and may require extra attention to account for flight conditions, obstacles, and other considerations. Click the Plan tab to reveal the types of flight plans. These include survey, multi-survey, corridor scan, and a blank survey. Each option can be tailored to more specific survey requirements. Typically, survey is the best option. The first thing you'll need to do when planning a mission is choose your launch point and takeoff direction. Your launch point will be as close as possible to where you will actually be throwing the drone. To maximize your drone's lift and decrease the launch effort, your takeoff direction should be as into the wind as possible. There shouldn't be any obstacles between the launch point and the takeoff waypoint. Your takeoff point should be at least 500 feet away from the launch location. This is to give your drone plenty of distance as it climbs to its operational altitude. You can see the distance between them on the bar at the top of the screen. Click Next to move on to the next phase of planning. The following polygon tools are used to create the survey area. They include Basic, Circular, Trace, and also an option to load KML and shapefiles. Basic Survey will create a generic rectangle. You can move the points of the rectangle or adjust the location of the survey by dragging the middle point. Next is a Circular Survey, which will create a generic circle with a radius that you can adjust. Trace will allow you to tap to place the corners of the field to create an outline that matches any field shape. Place your points clockwise to create your boundary, then click Done Tracing. Lastly, Load KML or Shapefile will load a previously created KML or shapefile that has been saved locally on your device. We'll cover how to save and upload these files later in the section. For this flight plan, we'll use a circular survey for our circular field. Once you have created or loaded your flight area, a green survey area will be visible on your screen. Click Next to move on to the next phase of planning. Here, you will select a preset for the type of data you wish to gather for this survey. This will set the overlap triggering information and survey altitude. Options include stand count, tassel count, quick tile, and stitched mosaic. The next options on this screen will be automatically set based on the direction you set for your takeoff. If your takeoff was set directly into the wind, you shouldn't have to change anything. The transect angle will change the direction that the aircraft flies in order to collect survey data. This angle should be as close as possible to 90 degrees to the current wind direction. Rotate entry point will allow you to control where the drone will enter the survey. Ideally, the flight should snake upwind to utilize the wind for a more efficient turn. Click Next to move on to the next phase of planning. Set the landing point by clicking on the map where you wish to land. Ideally, you want to get the center of your landing area as close to your launch point as possible. You can do this automatically by using the Set to Vehicle Launch button. Next, set your landing direction by grabbing the loiter point and rotating. You should land flying into the wind. Crosswind landings are okay on less windy days, but remember to never land in crosswinds greater than 15 miles per hour. To avoid obstacles while performing a landing loiter, use the loiter clockwise checkbox to flip the loiter and have the aircraft loiter in the opposite direction. Clicking Done will open more landing pattern options so you can fine-tune your landing. If the PHX is connected to your computer or iPad, click the Upload button in the top right-hand corner to send the mission to the drone's memory. Our PHX is now ready to fly the mission, but let's first review some best practices for our flight. Always plan your mission with your takeoff and landing directions into the wind. For best performance, snake upwind during the survey. Remember, Fly PHX will do this automatically based on your launch and takeoff direction when using the wizard. Long, skinny fields can be an exception to this rule. If you plan your flight in advance, make sure you adjust your flight plan to account for the wind direction on the day of your survey. Use the battery estimator to make informed decisions about the length of your mission planning. You can see the estimated number of batteries needed for your flight plan in the top right corner of the screen. Some excess battery is always a safe bet in case of emergency. Using more than one battery for a mission and swapping batteries mid-mission will be covered in a later video. Exceeding a waypoint limit of 2,000 waypoints is not advised. Make sure to check your waypoints before starting a flight. Smaller flight plans shouldn't be a problem. Next, let's take a look at a few additional features in Fly PHX that you might find helpful. First is importing fields from your field agent account. Open the Settings tab and select Centera Field Agent. Log into your field agent account and use the Download Field Boundaries button to download previously created field boundaries that have been loaded into your field agent account. The imported field boundaries will then be available under the Load Field option used in the flight planning phase. It is important to have satellite imagery saved locally on your machine for situations or locations that have no internet connectivity. Open the Application Settings tab and choose the Offline Maps button. Then click Add New Set. The map location will correspond to the map that is visible on the fly screen. Next, you will choose your minimum and maximum zoom levels. A maximum zoom is the closest image you can zoom to. 50 to 100 feet is a good scale. Minimum zoom is the furthest away image you can zoom to. 2 to 5 miles should be adequate. Next, select a name for the tile set and choose a map type that you wish to be used. If you plan on using the Terrain Informed feature with Fly PHX, be sure to click the Fetch Elevation Data checkbox. Try to keep the estimated download size to 25 megabytes or less. Click the Download button to begin downloading your chosen tile set. You'll know your map and elevation tiles are completely loaded when the small red dot on the right-hand side turns from red to green. The last feature we'll cover is saving a flight plan. Flight plans can be saved in the Plan tab. Once you're there, use the File button in the top left-hand corner and click the Save As button. Name the mission and click Save on the pop-up window to save the flight plan just like any other file. To find and load it again, use the File button. Then, click Open and select the mission you want to use. Lastly, click Open to open it, just like any other file. And that's the basics of Fly PHX. We'll cover additional and more advanced features of the application in later videos. I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions, please contact Centera support at support@centera.com. Or you can reach me at michael.bowman at centera.com. You can also find more resources on our support page at support.centera.com or on our YouTube channel.